Good morning.
Good morning.
So today we're talking about alignment. So we've been talking about this whole series, and we'll do sort of a big recap next week. But awareness is the idea of kind of being present, right? Mm-hmm. And then acceptance isn't giving up. It isn't surrendering. It's accepting the fact that reality is simply reality. Mm-hmm. And having a clear understanding of where you currently are helps you create a real starting point and an understanding of where you want to go.
Yeah, I like to think of it as letting go of resistance.
Yeah, there you go. That's beautiful. Letting go of resistance. Mm-hmm. And then today we're talking about alignment. So alignment is more about getting all of our ducks in a row. Mm-hmm. It's about getting, understanding where we are. That's the acceptance part, awareness and acceptance part. But then, now that we know where we are, and hopefully we have some kind of a vision, some kind of a passion project, something that we're trying to accomplish, how do we actually create a framework where that actually happens, rather than scrolling on social media or just wishing? Yeah. A plan without implementation is a dream. Mm-hmm. And dreams are great, but we want to implement action plans for our dreams.
Yeah, I think of alignment as also having to do with intention.
Yeah.
Like, what is my intention, and are my actions aligning with my intention? And it kind of goes back to attention plus intention equals manifestation. Like, what occurs in your life, where you put your attention, what your intention is, you will manifest in your daily life. So we're really looking at that intention piece today, and the alignment, and making sure you're in alignment with who you are and where you want to be.
Yeah, and it's not about being perfect, right? I mean, we took a picture yesterday. We had a busyness yesterday, and so we're in Wilmer and driving home, and I am freaking hangry for a bunch of reasons, not the least of which was being up really late the night before. And
skipping lunch.
Mm-hmm. And so we pulled into Jimmy John's. They got a vegetarian sandwich with extra tomatoes and extra avocado, and we're driving home, and I'm thinking, just hand me the sandwich. So here I am taking a big bite of it while driving the car, and Elizabeth takes a picture, and the picture title is going to be, perfection, or rather progress over perfection.
Yeah, because it's been 2 talks in the last week where we've mentioned how many of you have ate in the car in the last week. And we were kind of thinking, well, we haven't in so long.
Until yesterday.
Oh, there you go, guys.
Yeah.
Tom did yesterday starting. And then I was sitting there like, I can't believe you're doing that. And before we got home, I had started on my sandwich because I was also so hungry. It was like 3:30.
and watching me eat. So
yeah.
So I was
like, I'm gonna pass out. My blood sugar's dropping.
Yeah. So there's sort of 3 major components of alignment. Mm-hmm. We already talked about knowing where you are, knowing where you want to go, and then identifying and committing to the path. So for me, I don't know about you, but for me, my accountability partner over here, I'll be, tired at the end of the day and just want to lose myself. And I'm watching rock climbing videos because I'm an old rock climber, and I like to relive it. And there's the stuff is so different now. I mean, like a lead rope when I was climbing was 11 millimeters. Now they're climbing on stuff that I considered like utility cord or glacier travel ropes, and they're taking giant whippers on them. So, it's fun and interesting to keep up and all that kind of stuff. And but is that getting me towards my goals?
Right. And if you want to do that for 5-10 minutes intentionally. But when it's getting to be 40-50 minutes, I'll be like, hey, honey, what are you doing over there?
Or all evening. Yeah.
It's supposed to be writing night.
Yeah, it's Tuesday. We're supposed to be writing. Yeah. So that's, just as an example. Mm-hmm. You probably don't have any examples like that in your life, though.
Yeah. I kind of have to be my own accountability partner as well, because I have goals and a vision of where I want to be, and in that vision does not include, like you said, me sitting in the evening scrolling. So when I'm scrolling, I actually can go back. It's weird that awareness comes to me. Maybe it's not weird, but that awareness comes to me of seeing me almost sitting there scrolling, and in my meditations that I do, that's one thing that I'm letting go of in order to get to where I want to be. And it is good sometimes. Like sometimes I can go on social media and I can see a GoFundMe, and I know that I can give a little bit to help make a difference in someone's life. So there are benefits to it. I'm not saying but you have to use it purposefully with intention. And I have to set myself time limits, kind of like I do my kids. Or I only have one that's left at home.
Yeah, we need to put on our parental controls.
Yeah, and that's just a timer. Like, okay, Elizabeth, you can do this, but you get 15 minutes, and that's it. And then when those 15 minutes are up, I kind of feel like, now my grandson, my 3-year-old grandson, he's like, oh, he gives a little slump because his 10 minutes are up on a device. That's kind of
cat
how
videos.
I feel.
He loves to watch cat videos.
Yeah, it's kind of how I feel internally sometimes.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the alignment piece is really making sure your intentions, match where you want to be with your actions.
Yeah, that's right. So that's one distraction. That's one obstacle to alignment. Self-doubt. Self-doubt is another obstacle
huge.
to alignment. Yeah. I just can't do it. I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
Or that goal is completely unobtainable. Oh, okay. Well, why'd you set that goal for?
I failed.
Because
some days you will fail.
Yep.
Some days I will fail. I won't get the writing in. But
or I will eat that cookie. Or I will scroll all evening.
At least I'm not eating, 5 cookies every day.
Or
yeah.
Or right. So then that becomes sort of like the self-doubt piece is, I think, the biggest thing that holds all of us back.
And the self-judgments.
And that comes back to limiting beliefs in a way, And so we have another shameless plug. We have this book. It's currently on Amazon. We haven't started promoting it yet, but next month, I think.
Yeah, we wrote it last year.
Yeah, we wrote it last year and have kind of been too busy to promote it. But Find Your Core, A Journey Back to Self. And the first chapters are about finding your core beliefs and deciding, are those limiting beliefs or are those empowering beliefs? And if they're limiting beliefs, how can we reframe them so that they become at least neutral, if not empowering? And I think that's really a powerful, important thing. I have dyslexia. And I went, in 3rd grade, I was invited back to 3rd grade because I just did such a great job. At least that's the story. That's the reframing of it. Might have had something to do with not being able to read. A lot of my classmates from 3rd grade on, and when I was in that special program, unfortunately, they got into doing dumb stuff, and a lot of them ended up either dead or in jail. But somehow I graduated from med school, and what's the difference there? Well, it's a lot of support, a lot of accountability partners, a lot of those kinds of things. It's not because I'm some superhuman special being. It's because I had a support system and I had good family, but also personal goals, right?
Yeah, and not saying I didn't mean good family like
yeah. Supportive,
yeah,
and
some families can be supportive too, and it's still hard. But
that's right. Yeah,
so I didn't want to.
We're not trying to blame it on the family. Absolutely
that
not.
was a bad label,
Absolutely not.
But he did have a great family, so that's why, or he does have a great family, so that's why I put that in there.
Bunch of derelict hippie, good family, yeah.
Love them all.
Yeah, me too. I think getting clear on, and then there's a lot of people out there who are just kind of lost, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of where, that's where the book core kind of comes in for me. I had spent the first part of my life, you're growing up, you're a kid, and then all of a sudden I went from being a kid to having a kid.
Yeah.
And so I got lost in some really important roles of motherhood, wife. But then I came to a place in my, mid to late 30s, I was feeling like detached because I had become so lost in these beautiful roles. But at the same time, I kind of lost myself. And I think that happens to
Most of us.
We
become our career, we become our motherhood, we become our fatherhood.
Yep. And there's beauty in that too, because you're diving in deep and you're dedicating everything, but then you do get to a point where you have to attend to yourself. And I got to that point where I didn't even know what I wanted. I didn't know what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be. That's probably why they call it maybe a midlife crisis. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so yeah, really reflecting on my beliefs. Which
I didn't
ones
get that
were
sports car though in my midlife crisis.
I didn't either.
I did get the younger wife though, but through
but
through tragic means. But anyway.
Yeah, there's a couple tragedies, but so yeah, it was just really just reassessing who I was, letting go of those limiting beliefs, those feelings of I'm not worthy. And reframing everything and starting kind of from, like that process of unbecoming. So you can really become who you, find your purpose, become who you, I not really want to be, but in alignment with who you are.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So one of the things I like to think about is what are called SMART goals. SMART goals are specific.
I'm going to bring up Rebecca. My words for this year. I deserve to feel well and be well, to be peaceful, to stand up for myself. Wonderful. I love it, Rebecca.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that's really powerful. Thank you.
Yeah,
so,
those are great intentions and great words to recite to yourself every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. And stand up for, yourself. I think that's so important because we do become complacent. And I think finding your voice is a really big piece to healing as well.
Yes. Yeah, huge piece to healing. We've talked about this before, but getting in alignment, there's a lot of us who, because of the chronic illness, the chronic pain, the chronic disappointment, the chronic gaslighting from the medical community,
we lose our voice.
We lose our voice, we lose our hope, we lose our belief in ourselves. And so this is a big piece of that. And then there's the people...
That was an eagle behind us.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
There's also a piece of it where people get mad and people want to fight back. But that also isn't really in alignment with healing. There's this calm acceptance that is really in alignment with healing. And calm acceptance, again, that acceptance piece is just, okay, this is the starting point. And now there is a methodical way of getting to wellness. And, like I like to tell people, they come in and their hair's on fire. It's like that scene in Top Gun, Mav, you're never going to be happy unless you're going Mach 2 and your hair's on fire. Well, Mach 2 with your hair on fire is not a sustainable way to move forward. And we have to find that sustainable pace. So, of course, everybody wants to be better by tomorrow, but the unfortunate truth is that it's a journey, and it was a journey to get there. It's going to be a journey to get out. Yeah. So these SMART goals, I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
SMART. So S is for specific, a specific goal. And then M is for measurable, because if you can't measure it, you really can't know if you're getting better or not. So even if it's just a symptom, right? My goal is this particular symptom gets better. Okay, well, you got to track that symptom, right? And then the measurable, and then achievable. You don't want to. Your first goal shouldn't be, I want to be president. The first goal should be maybe, a member of the town council or whatever. Just making kind of ridiculous, but some kind of an achievable goal, so that you can have some early success, right? So I want to be free from chronic Lyme. Okay, well, that's a great long-term goal, but how about the short-term goal is I am capable and able to do the regiment necessary to move myself forward, right? Instead of, I don't feel like taking my pills today. And then relevant, the last smart, or second to last is relevant. It should be a goal that's aligned with your path and your passion. And then last is time bound. So you want to have sort of a time limit on this. And then if you're not at your goal, you need to realign and figure out why not.
Yeah. And this is actually, SMART is an acronym that we use a lot in like nurse coaching, when helping patients set up their goals. So this is a really powerful acronym, I think, to use.
Yeah, in a lot of spheres and ways. Yeah, I think this idea of alignment is underappreciated and with its power. And you know, especially again, I started to talk about how a lot of people are just sort of lost. They don't have a passion. They don't have a purpose. They don't have, you know, and they think that they're on the hamster wheel, or they think that they're somehow there's this grandiosity about my passion and my purpose. No, your passion might just be, you know, greeting people where they are. Your passion might be being the best mom or dad possible, or being present. It doesn't have to be some grandiose thing, you know, but it's important. And so, you know, again, shameless plug, we've put a lot of time, effort, and energy into our passion project and our book, Find Your Core, A Journey Back to Self, and how to sort of stepwise go from what are your beliefs, you know, kind of start there. And once you have beliefs, you know, it's like you start to find other pieces of this thing, and it goes all the way up to, you know, what's my mission, what's my purpose, all that kind of stuff. And this is a powerful piece of the puzzle. I'm a guy, I read a book many years ago entitled Life Without a Plan. And I love that idea, because I think if you get too welded to your plan, you miss opportunities. But having a path is a little bit different than a plan. And, you know, if my path includes, you know, being kind and being generous and being in deep gratitude and not only receiving but giving grace to those around me, that's a path. And that path will take you hopefully places that then you align with, you know, my goal, my place I'd like to go is here. But, you know, in the military, they have plans, but they also have what's called the commander's intent. So the plan, as Mike Tyson once famously said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. And life punches you in the face, right? So you need to have a plan, but the plan is really just to the next goal. But the commander's intent is we need to do that thing way down there. So and if this becomes a problem because I just got punched in the face, how do I go around here, right? How do I go this way? Or in military, they say the plan rarely survives contact with the enemy. Right. That's the military version of it. So the obstacle. So then if
things are going to come up.
You have a plan, but if that plan fails, you got to find a new plan to get around the obstacle so you can get to your goal. And I think that's the problem. People think, okay, I have my plan. I got to execute my plan. Okay, but you have to be flexible with your plan. Because and so taking that back to medicine and your journey maybe with chronic Lyme, what do we ask every time you come in? Are you better? Are you worse? Are you the same? And if you're not better, the question is, why not? What are we doing wrong? What did we not think about? What other entity is happening that's keeping you? And,
or maybe we've given you too much that you can't.
Yeah, right.
And that's
Thank
fine
that.
too, because some, you know, he likes to throw everything at you.
Yeah.
And that's not always doable. And that's okay too, because we want to meet you where you're at.
Yeah.
We want to create a plan that you can succeed at and have those wins. So if it is overwhelming or too much, well, for one, if you want to continue on it, we have those, you know, the coaching, everything that's included in those visits when you see them. So really utilize us.
Yep, and
or
again,
we
progress.
can change it. 'Cause,
Progress over perfection.
Yeah, coaching, we can definitely help you modify things and make it attainable in your
When I'm
world.
seeing you, I'm thinking, what's the most I can do to get you better as fast as
Right.
possible? Which sometimes it's too much because
Yeah.
maybe all that good stuff makes you feel sick because we're pushing too hard.
Or maybe you just can't do it, or maybe financially you can't do it,
Yep.
or whatever. So that's what we're here, is to kind of help you, to be that bridge from where you're at right now to where you
need to go.
want
to go, need to go.
Yeah.
All right, is that alignment? What
That's
else
alignment. We're just a little bit over. We're 22 minutes in today. So
got a little.
you got a little windy.
A little windy.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
I'm good at
It's
that.
good. He did a talk on Wednesday night, so I think he's still like
Apparently, at the talk, Elizabeth leaned over to Ashley and said, "Now we know why he can be in the room with a patient for 2
hours. 2 hours. Sometimes a new patient, it's 2 hours, and he's running behind by an hour now, and it's like,
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about.
And I said it's kind of like a rabbit hole. Like, how far does the hole,
Yeah, how far do you go?
Yeah, how far does the hole go? Wow.
All right.
As
So
far as you want it to go.
with that long-winded discussion
It's
about
great,
being
Yes,
long-winded,
thank you for sharing all your.
we'll end there. So
Okay.
have a great day, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.